Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to be going on about a film that is very near and dear to our hearts, and also I dedicate this episode to Tammy's recently deceased father. So,
Whoa.
Tammy, why don't you tell us a little bit about the film that you had us go on about?
Yep. It's called Young Frankenstein, and yes, it was one of my father's favorites, and his birthday would have been tomorrow. So.
Okay.
I'm sorry for your loss, Tammy.
The writers are Gene Wilder, Mel Brooks, and Mary Shelley. Some of the main actors are Gene Wilder, Madeline Kahn, Hugh Bill, Marty Feldman, Cloris Leachman, Terry Garr, Kenneth Mars, and Richard Hayden.
Okay.
Madeline Kahn.
It's hard to hear you. It's hard to hear you for some reason.
Ooh,
Speak up.
Me?
Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the movie is
No, it's not.
IMDb says an American grandson of the infamous scientist struggling to prove that his grandfather was not as insane as people believe is invited to Transylvania. The process that reanimates a dead body.
He was cuckoo.
But as we all know, this is not really a horror movie, especially with Mel Brooks behind it. So, I guess we'll go into first impressions. Kroll, why don't you start?
What?
I said, why don't you start with your first impressions?
All right. Well, I don't remember exactly when I saw it. For all I know, I've seen it when it came out. Of the year. But I remember seeing it as a kid and loving it. Really enjoying it. To me, it was just a spoof of Frankenstein, but it's actually not just a spoof, but kind of a sequel to Frankenstein, because he's the great grandson of Baron von Frankenstein. I'm sorry. Um, so yeah, I love the movie. It's got a humongous cast, and I didn't realize until watching it this time when I was watching that he actually co-wrote it with Mel Brooks. Gene Wilder did. So it wasn't just Mel Brooks; it was Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder together. So what a combination we have there. Yeah, Gene Wilder, he was pretty funny. I remember some of the greatest movies as a kid with Gene Wilder in it. Star Crazy and Hey Evil, See No Evil, things like that. Just absolutely funny. He's a great comedian, and yeah. Another lots of great comedians in there. Madeline Kahn is absolutely great. Terry Garr, um, insanely. I don't know if Tammy noticed. I wrote this in the chat that I looked up Cherry Guys because I was just curious and things because she's in this. So sometimes I look people up and said that she was uh, besides an actress, she was a dancer and started out dancing when she was very young and started in a few shows as like a background dancer. And one of them is a TV show called Tammy. So I thought that was interesting. So just wanted to point that out. Um, yeah.
Interesting.
Uh, what was that?
I said that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. So yeah, it's got a like I said an amazing cast. Of course, Peter Boyle is the Frankenstein creature. Um, I if anyone watched Everyone Loves Raymond, that was the dad, and other things. That's what I think I have most in this. So yeah, um, I think of course they definitely had colored movies and TV shows in the '70s, but I think they did this in black and white more because the original was. So they were just trying to do that, which I thought was good even though it was black and white. So it was very funny. Right from the beginning, it was very funny. And trying to pull a book from the skeleton.
Well, and actually, Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder, they both wanted it in black and white. In fact, they weren't going to take no for an answer when it came to taking it to studios.
Right,
MGM.
I assume they wanted it black and white because the original was in black and white. The original Frankenstein.
Well, Columbia was supposed to do the picture, and
Yeah.
they refused to do it in black and white, and so they said we're not doing the picture in black and white. And Brooks said, "I guess you're not doing my picture then." And 20th Century Fox, one of the one of the guys was overheard this or found out about it, and he came to Mel Brooks and offered to do it and offered to pay for it too. That's how it ended up at 20th Century.
And that is probably one of the best decisions 20th Century Fox ever made.
And
They made
another
a lot of
little
good decisions way back when. I don't know what happened.
and another little thing is when they were preparing for the film, um, a gentleman by the name of Ken Strickfaden, who had made the elaborate electrical machinery for the lab sequences in the Universal Frankenstein, um, heard about it and got a hold of Mel Brooks, and he had this guy Ken had actually stored all this equipment that he had used, and he
That's awesome.
and so then he gave it to Mel Brooks to use.
Yep. So the laboratory may look a little different, but it's not that much difference except for some added doohickeys or whatnot.
But the main
He,
thing too was Brooks actually gave him credit in the credits for using the equipment, which he was never given credit in the Universal film.
which is kind of a unique thing.
Yep. Okay, so you're done, Pro?
Yes.
Okay. Philippe.
Yeah, so this was my first time watching the movie, and it was an interesting experience. Maybe not the kind of movie I would regularly go for myself, but it was definitely interesting. It had some weird and some what the fuck moments. Pardon my vocabulary, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Maybe. I would personally prefer if it was filmed in color and if it was not trying to look older than it really was. I personally have the impression it would have worked better, but other people don't necessarily have to agree with me. Uh,
Yeah.
I think it was
So
better in black and white because he was, even though they were making it a romantic comedy slash horror slash whatever you want to say, they were still trying to give homage to the original Frankenstein, which was in black and white. So that was the reasoning behind the black and white.
well, uh,
So I think it. I don't. I think if it was in color, I think it would have actually taken away from what they were trying to do.
yeah, I agree.
So
Of course, you agree, Jay. You want everything black and white.
I prefer films that are in black and white.
But I said,
I understand what you're saying, but really, because you with some of the comedy and stuff that was in it too, you probably didn't get quite everything because of where you are.
Possibly, I
You know,
did. I
you understanding some of our some of our comedy in it, everything. You
well,
know.
I did have several moments of good laugh with this movie, but there probably were some jokes that went over my head.
werewolf, werewolf, their castle. Why are you talking like that? What do you want me to
Oh,
do?
I I did understand the werewolf. What was the other thing you said?
Abby
Werewolf,
normal.
werewolf, their castle. Why are you talking like that? I thought you wanted me to.
Ah, yeah,
Walk,
yeah.
walk like this.
Uh,
Yeah, when he was saying werewolf, he turned it around and where is the wolf? Is
yeah.
what he was making fun of him about. He was at,
Uh,
Would you like
he
a
was
roll in the
making
hay?
the
Roll in the hay, roll in the
is the wolf
hay.
uh,
instead of
yeah.
saying werewolf.
The werewolf joke I did understand.
Yeah, some of the humor in here is tongue in cheek. So you gotta go with the corn wherever it goes. So I guess I'll go. Um, well, I'm not exactly sure when I saw this. I know I definitely saw A History of the World first. Um, but I saw Young Frankenstein sometime later. Oh,
uh,
I guess we
we
have two Tammys in the room.
yeah, what?
Werewolf, their wolf.
Werewolf.
But
Somebody help me
anyways,
with my glasses. I'm singing too.
those are some good knockers. Anyways, uh, there was definitely some humor in this film that was definitely before its time. It was one of the greatest spoofs of the Universal time period in the 70s, and that's what Mel Brooks kind of became known for is spoofing other movies. He did it before Scary Movie did, so you have to give him
Huh.
credit for being a man ahead of his time. Um, and things of that nature. Um,
Hello.
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 No.
Okay.
So I've been.
Goodbye.
Oh.
So you explained to him about the werewolf thing or whatever.
That was
I
good
could hear
timing.
you talk. I could hear you talk. I could hear you talking because you're in the same place, but I couldn't hear anybody else.
Ah.
So
Speaking of not hearing, I'm moving forward because I can't hear you.
Sorry for disappearing.
Oh, that
Apparently,
was
I.
perfect timing. Like, hello, hello, and
okay,
he's like,
so
here, and I'm like, bye-bye.
are you done with
Y-
your first impressions? Because I kind of got booted out. So
uh,
uh,
well,
I
yeah,
was
I
actually
think
doing my first impressions.
okay.
Are you done with your first impressions then, Boris?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm not sure exactly when I first saw this. I do know that Mel Brooks kind of did this ahead of his time, um, uh, and I like this film specifically for its comedic timing. Um, I think that when it came out, it was definitely needed because comedy is always shall I say abstract, and it depends on who it is watching the comedy, and it evidently it got um, the attention of that generation and future generations to come, and I do think that it's a very young role of Peter Boyle's, uh, and I'm actually glad that this film exists because we Tammy and I actually went and saw a musical version of this on stage not too long ago, and we had a hard time not comparing it to that stage musical. Uh, uh, and they
they did.
they did a very good job.
Yes, they did a very good job.
So, but
Anything else,
that
David?
being said, I do enjoy the atmosphere of this film. I do like seeing Terry Garr as Inga. I enjoy Marty Feldman's role as the Hunchback
Igor.
very much.
I thought
What
it was
up?
Igor. They told me it was Igor. Oh, they were obviously mistaken. It's Igor. You know, I'm not to embarrass you, but I'm a good surgeon. I can take care of the hump. What hump? Uh, let's go. Wasn't that hump on the other side?
It's also a very easy to repeat anything that comes from this movie. So that's another thing. So as Kroll sort of interpreted. So it's an all around fun film, especially for those who have seen it before or haven't. And
Although
you know,
I don't think I can copy the scene with the cigar because that was hilarious, but I still can't quite do that.
yeah, Peter Boyle was able to do a lot of silent comedy. They're about.
How do you,
I mean, for the most part.
how'd you feel about it, darling? Oh, you're incorrigible.
So that's pretty much my first impression. I enjoy the film each time I see it, and
You
I think
trashed the
I think
brain, but what
on
did you get?
Blu-ray. And I will
Oh,
let you go
Okay.
there. And what about you, Tammy?
Okay. Well, I'm not sure when I saw this. I know I had to at least be 12 years old because I didn't meet my father till then.
I
And
thought you saw it in the
he,
theater.
I think he, I wouldn't have seen it in the theater. I would have was only 2 years old when it came out.
Uh,
But my dad, I think, was at the time, my brother and sister were only like 2 and 4 years old. So I think when him and I first met, he was enjoying showing me movies that and sharing it with me that the youngsters would not get, you know, but I would, and that maybe his wife at the time probably might not have gotten into either. So here I come along and I'm 12 years old. So hey, let's watch this. Let's watch that. Let's. So I remember watching it with him and the beginning, sort of at the beginning, when he gets off the train and you hear Igor coming with the dragging of his foot, that noise. You don't see him, you just see the smoke and you hear him. And I remember I was totally watching, like, because of the noise. You know, I'm waiting to see what's behind this noise. And I remember my dad sitting there. He had this way of he could hum and whistle at the same time, and it sounded really eerie. And I remember him doing that, and I looked over at him just as Igor appeared, and it was just like, he was trying to make it seem, I think, a little more spooky than it really was, but, I'd never seen the movie. I didn't know. As the movie progressed, of course, I realized that there was a lot of more comedy in it than scariness, you know. But I had a lot of fun, and now that I'm older, I actually appreciate it even more because Mel Brooks, even though turning it into a comedy, was actually trying to be pretty true to the actual Frankenstein and movies, also, and to be true to the original Frankenstein and then still put the comedy in it, I thought is very, was very cool, and respectful because he was being respectful of the original, but yet having a little bit of fun with it. And I think that's why a lot of people enjoy this movie. Is he stayed pretty true to the original, and even with it being even having it in black and white, also, but making it made it fun for like people that say I don't like horror movies. They could go in and enjoy this because it wasn't technically a horror movie. But they could go in
I
and
love the
enjoy it.
Universal monsters.
Huh?
Yeah, there isn't much horror in this movie. I kind of expected there would be, but then the monster turned out to be benevolent, so all the horror went out the window.
Yeah, it's
Right,
too
and
funny
that
to be
and that's, I
scary.
think, what makes this movie enjoyable for lots of people and lots of audiences, because you still kind of get the story of Frankenstein, but without the horror part in it, that people that don't like horror movies. But you still get the
We,
story.
yeah, true.
It's
No,
so
I'm
I
I'm
like
not saying.
Mel Brooks. We were watching a behind the thing on, and he said that this movie was like one of it had to be one of or his very favorite movie that he's ever made. So
Uh, yeah, well, like I said, I'm not really saying it's a bad thing that there is no horror in this movie. I just kind of expected it since it's a Frankenstein story. But and okay, maybe
There's a
I
little bit of
personally,
horror. There's a
sorry.
little bit of horror. I mean, when they, it's the
mm.
it's the atmosphere of horror that I think it has, like the
Mm,
atmosphere surrounding the comedy. Because you got the when he shows up to the castle. The castle looks dark, creepy. There's lightning showing. I mean, when they mentioned that Buka, whatever lady's name, the horses scream. These are elements of horror
And
that
the
make it more
werewolf.
comedic, and the werewolf and the wolves
Werewolf,
howling. That
werewolf.
to some people, some people, if they were in a hayride and heard a wolf howling, would get frightened. I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying some people.
Well, watching a movie, I don't get frightened, but if I was in, you know, you know, wagon like they were in, and in this creepy ass Pennsylvania in the dark and the woods and hearing werewolf, I'd probably be a little frightened. I think most
But
people would.
I go, come here, Wolfie, Wolfie.
of course you would, inviting the wolf in sheep's clothing in.
Yeah, you could have David for lunch. Just come up here.
One can suffer.
What are you talking about? I'm the wolf's brother. I am the werewolf.
The werewolf would stop and say, "Wow, you're hairier than I am."
Diego says that every day.
You sure you're not related to a cat?
But anyways, huh? What, girl?
I was saying that Diego's probably like, "Are you sure you're not related to a cat?"
Ah, but anyway, so that was my first impression. I mean, as a kid, I thought it was fun. And like you said, as I got older, it I appreciated the comedy even more, and I appreciated the background to the movie. But I can understand why it was one of my father's favorites too. He
and
actually
for
really likes
for
Mel
all
Brooks
her
a
hate,
lot. He likes Gene Wilder a lot.
for all her
So
hate of extras, for all her hate of extras on a movie, she didn't realize that there were some deleted scenes for this movie too.
Ooh. Tell me, why do you hate extras?
I don't. It's just David goes to the extreme on watching them all the time, and so it gets annoying. Okay.
I believe that.
I don't mind watching the extras on certain movies or whatever. I don't want to watch it on every single damn movie, and I don't want to watch it especially on independent movies most of the time. Okay, so it's not that I hate them. I just don't want to watch them every single time I watch a movie.
Well, there are some movies where I'm interested in extras, usually if it's
But
a movie
that
I
would make the
like.
movie too long.
I know one. I know that trilogy that my dad really likes to watch the extras behind that I know probably annoys my mom.
Lord of the
Lord of
Rings.
the Rings, which we actually discussed some time ago. Yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah, that's got some amazing extras.
Uh,
Yeah, it's another probably 2 hours worth of stuff.
Awesome.
Probably why your mom doesn't like it.
Worth it.
uh,
I've
uh,
watched every single
What
behind the
was that one
scenes
that you put
Star
that
Wars I
there
could
was
find.
extras not that long ago, David, that had another hour worth of extras?
Tammy, did you
What was
just
that
say that?
one that had like another hour worth of extras, David?
Oh, wasn't that the Living Dead at Manchester Mansion
It it might have
just
been. It was
recently?
like the extras were as long as the damn movie.
Which was great. I learned a heck of a lot more. See, that's why I watch extras. I watch extras because sometimes they mention things that I did not know about the film, or um, locations that were extremely important to where they were at that point in time. And sometimes they even have added stories to things that happened during production. So that is why I watch extras, and it's fascinating, to be honest. Sometimes they go into the making of music videos in these extras, or have different soundtracks to the different versions, and go into how many different titles the films have. These are things that are in the extras that are extremely important to you as a film lover. So that
I'm
is
I would like to find the extras for some of the specific movies I like, so I will possibly be buying some DVDs soon.
like you get transfixed on certain music videos from certain movies. So
Okay, well,
Succubus
of course,
Hellbent. Oh yeah,
just to name one.
but ironically enough, that song I was so desperately trying to find from Succubus Hellbent, there is one music video on that DVD as a bonus, but it's not that song I was looking for. It's another one. But yeah, uh, that DVD did help me obtain the song I was looking for as well when I extracted it from the digital surround audio track. But yeah, you get me when it comes to some of those things.
So Tammy, you were saying?
Oh, sorry for interrupting.
no, you're fine. I just figured we were gonna move on. So, um, anyways, um, Gene Wilder's character is giving a lecture, and he does this presentation with this older gentleman about uh, when how your brain reacts. So he tells the gentleman to lift up his leg, and he lifts it up, and he puts it down, and then he shows what would happen if, um, like when you're not thinking about it, and he shows him coming at him, and out of reflex, he lifts up his leg and puts it down. Well, then he puts this other contraption on this gentleman. It does the same thing, and the gentleman doesn't react, and he gets balls.
You can see his eyes though that
And
he was like
this
hurting.
so that that the brain, you know, the brain tells you, how to make your body react and everything, which was actually quite comical because this poor old guy that he was using as a
in
stooge,
Give him an extra
he
incredibly
felt
dollar.
sorry for.
he's in incredible pain, and as he's being carted away, he's like, give him an extra dollar.
That's what I said. It's Frankenstein.
But
Actually, the great
after
grandson
class,
of
so
Doctor
after this
Frankenstein, who
demonstration,
loved graves.
a gentleman comes up and tells.
It's Frankenstein.
Yeah, there is a guy in the middle of the class that keeps referring to him as Frankenstein, and keeps like
The guy in
trying
the
to
front row.
remind him of his.
Right, and he has to definitely correct him on how he wants his name pronounced. But
He was
then this
cuckoo.
gentleman comes up and lets him know that he he is the heir to his grandfather's estate. And at first he doesn't seem very interested, but then he does end up going. Um, and then we see him leaving. What do you think about a little fiance? Oh, don't touch this. Don't kiss me
Don't
there.
kiss me on the lips. You'll smear my lipstick.
Oh my, yeah.
What a goodbye. Hey, can't touch, can't kiss, can't,
Can't kiss
anything.
goodbye. Can't hug her.
And it
Kind
turns
of
out that
makes
fur
me
coat is actually monkey fur.
kind of made me wonder how come she wasn't like that when the monster got his hands on her.
He
Well,
must go
as we
before
know,
make a
he was
scene.
well
Madeline Kahn is fantastic.
endowed.
So, yep, he takes the train, gets off. That's when we meet Igor. And um, we have the nice little correcting him about that it's not pronounced Igor, it's pronounced Igor. And then he says he can help him with that hump. And he's,
Wow.
oh, what are you talking about? I don't have a hump. But then he
Walk
tells
this
him to
way.
walk this way. I think that was one of the funny scenes as they go to walk down the stairs. He says, "No, walk this way." And he even
Well,
gives
yeah,
him this little
he
bitty
grabs the
cane
smallest suitcase and
to walk
leaves him
down
with
these
the biggest one.
stairs.
You want some brandy? Some more milk, perhaps? Ovaltine.
And then when they get to the, you'll be better off in the back, and he throws the suitcases in, and you hear a woman, and he goes, "Oh, that's just your assistant."
Inga.
And he goes to get in there, and she's like, "Would you like to roll in the hay?"
Roll in the hay, roll in the hay.
It's quite fun. Who is that? Your
And then,
assistant.
of course, on the way there, we get the other scene of you hearing that she's frightened by the storm, and he tells her not to be. And then right afterwards, you hear the werewolves, and he says werewolves, and we get that nice little werewolves. Well,
Beowulf. Their
there's
castle. All right, I'm easy.
and so when they get to the castle, I forget how to pronounce her name. The lady
Uh,
whose name that the horses go wild after. I forget how to
uh,
say her name.
uh, I forgot her name too. I'm sorry.
Wow, we all suck.
Kroll. How do you say that lady's
Book,
name that the horses go
I
book
wild
or
forgot her
after?
something.
name too. I said we all. I said we all suck.
Ah, yeah. I thought you had said you all suck.
No, I said we all.
Okay.
I mean, he
Yeah.
introduces her, and then the horses go wild. But I forgot. I always forget how to say it. So
Uh, uh, what is it spelled like? Maybe I'll remember how it's
Buka
pronounced.
something or other. Looking. Frau Blucher.
Uh, uh, looks like I'm gonna have to Google
Frau
it too.
Blucher.
yeah,
Frau Blucher.
Uh, yeah, something like.
Played by Cloris Leachman.
Mm, Frau Blöcher.
That's what I
I,
said.
I, yeah, I studied German in high school. I actually forgot a lot of it, but at least I know this pronunciation.
you know what makes this so comedic is her name, and then the assistant and everything. They're supposed to be in Transylvania,
I,
so all this German,
hoot hoot.
and they're in Transylvania. You know,
Mhm.
Ah, yeah,
I find
interesting
that kind
point.
of comical.
Uh, where
Germany,
I
Transylvania. What's the difference?
Oh, yeah, Frankenstein is supposedly would supposedly be a German surname too, I guess.
I know
Frankenstein.
it's just comical that there's all this German and they're in Transylvania.
Yeah.
But
What did he say? Footsteps. Footsteps.
instead
Oh.
of having it in Slavic.
okay, let's see, where are we now, David?
They've arrived at the castle. He takes her down. He knocks on the door with this big ass knocker, and he's like, "Look at them knockers. Uh, 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 those are some nice knockers, or something like that." And she's like, "Thank you, Doctor
I
Frankenstein."
yeah, that made me think I wasn't familiar with that term, but in this case was knockers maybe a slang for boobs or something like
No,
that.
knockers mean boobs.
Yes,
Oh,
That's
yes.
uh,
why she said thank you because
Look
she
at
has
the
nice
knockers.
boobs.
yeah, I thought it was something like that, just
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
Yeah, it, it was a sex term. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few sex jokes.
Yeah, Boris, there's lots of little comedic innuendos in here, which I don't blame you
Yeah,
if you
when
don't
she
get them all
when she
because
said
you
Schwanstucker, that was a sexual term too.
Uh, okay, I don't remember that one. I'm sorry. In
They
what?
when they were at the dinner table.
no, I mean, I don't expect you to I don't ex I don't expect you to get them all because you know our comedy's a little bit different probably from your comedy, and you might not get all
Probably.
the all the little things and everything.
Uh,
But I hope you get a bunch of them because that makes the movie more fun. But
mm,
if you don't get them all, I understand.
Well, yeah, they're
You're
like
still
I.
lear-
Sorry, what?
you're still
You're still a
understanding all
budding
of our
humorist.
Oh, yeah,
well, yeah,
yeah.
he's still learning things about our language, let alone our comedy.
Yeah, if you uh, there were some situations when I tried to share some Croatian humor with American people, and uh, I had to explain some things, and they seemingly didn't understand what we find funny. Those Americans didn't understand what was supposed to be funny about it. So yeah, I guess
And
we.
vice versa. We understand. And we don't
Uh,
mind explaining it to you so that you can enjoy it.
I'm still
thanks.
trying to explain why Bunny the Killer Thing is funny as all heck. So,
Oh,
Goofy.
pussy.
There's
Yeah.
nothing funny about that damn movie. It's just
Everything's funny about the movie.
there is
Okay,
nothing
I
funny about that movie.
I didn't need much explaining about that one. I did find it funny. Sorry, Tammy. Uh,
Goofy.
That's
oh,
because
yeah.
you've been around David too long.
hey, Kroll wasn't around me that long before I presented it to him, and he found it funny.
Actually, buddy,
But you've been the one that's been David. You have been the one that's been helping Boris understand us and our language and everything else. So of course it's going
We're
to rub
teaching him the
off on
right
him
way.
first.
And I hope that I rub off on Boris a little bit with my humor too. So there.
actually, buddy,
Run
the
away,
killer.
boys. He's trying to rub on you.
Actually, Buddy the Killer thing was one of the earliest movies we discussed. So when we discussed it, I was also kind of new here.
But anyways, moving on. Since we know that Boris is still learning.
Yeah, David.
Well, um, we do have um, them going into the home, and I believe that's when uh, they play on the Frau Blucher moment a little bit because the horses go crazy after you say them. In fact, I do believe we have the Marty Feldman's character Igor go out the door and say Frau Blucher one more time, just for added effect, added measure, and they go in, and I guess Frau Blucher has got their rooms prepared, um, and do they have dinner first? I think they do have a dinner first, and isn't that where
No, the
um,
dinner is they don't have dinner until after
okay, yeah, okay,
the
yeah, okay,
picture
yeah.
is
They've gotten there way too late, so they end up going to the rooms, and then of
so
course,
they all want to retire.
okay, so I guess Frankenstein, Frankenstein, ends up having a nightmare. Correct?
Oh yeah, there
Yes,
is
and then he
some
wakes up
nightmare.
music.
Yeah, he wakes up to Inga, and they both hear music in the bookcase, and so they have this bookcase scenario where he's like, All right, put the candle back in the candle holder. You know.
Wow, how many times did you watch this movie to memorize it so word by word?
Well, it is a
Well, we
very
just watched
memorable.
it last night, so
That was rude.
I didn't do anything.
I didn't say you did. My phone kicked me off.
I think this connection has just not been very good today.
Well,
The greatest.
it was Dave. First it was Dave and Boris were both like they like poofed out. I'm like, Tammy, can you hear them? Tammy, Tammy, can you hear them? And then mine started doing it, but Tammy's still going, but she wasn't talking.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
could hear
okay.
him.
Uh,
And then I got kicked out, and
when
I couldn't. It wouldn't let me back in. I used my other phone, so I don't know.
when I disappeared, it was my fault, really.
I don't know.
I accidentally hit my keyboard with my elbow and kicked myself out.
Like I said, that was perfect timing. Like I said, I said hi, 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 bye. I was like, you want proof? And I was like, bye. Comedic timing.
Okay,
Comedic
so
timing.
they're looking.
Okay, so they're looking for the music that's
Okay,
behind
so now they're
the
looking for the
bookcase,
music.
and of course they have the candlestick. Go ahead.
I
Tammy.
hadn't seen this movie in a long time, and
Go
I
ahead.
was thinking, isn't it the candlestick? Listen to me. Put the candle back down. I'm gonna stop with my. Listen to me. Do not put the candlestick back down. Push, push with all your bodily might. Put the candlestick back in.
It
Why it's a secret passageway?
is a funny moment, especially when she gets on the other side and she's like,
Put the candlestick back in. But he was smart. He put it in for a second and then took it back
"Now
out.
push with all your might."
I thought when he said put the candlestick down and push all might, she's gonna put it back in the thing. Oh, she was a blonde, so.
There was some great comedic timing there. Well,
you know,
finally they got
you know what
the bookcase open.
Terry Guy's first acting break was? She played in a role in a Star Trek episode. That
Oh,
was her.
Terry Gar.
Yeah, that was her first acting break, and she did finally a real acting role. She ended up moving from California to New York to pursue acting career. Her father had been in was a play actor, and her mother was a dancer. So she was a dancer and an actor, but she decided she wanted to be an actress, and she didn't quit until 2011. And the reason she quit then was in 2002 she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but she still worked for
oh,
9 years even with it.
Yeah, she was in Close Encounters of the Third Kind later on, and
Yeah.
the movie Oh God
Oh God,
later on as well. Well after this,
Mr. Mom.
so but this wasn't her first role.
Oh, wasn't it? Star Trek was her first. I said.
She was in a ton of TV stuff.
Yes, Star Trek was her first
Yep.
acting role. Star Trek, the original series.
Okay, looks like she was actually in a couple of Elvis movies. Tammy,
Ooh.
Terry Garr, wise.
Yeah, 6
Oh,
as a background dancer.
she's no longer once she actually gets back on.
Oh, yeah, you're next, Dave.
Well,
Coming for you. It's like
I
Final
guess
Destination. You can't escape.
so. Shortly after this
Why would
candlestick,
you wait for Tammy? It's her movie. Just
shortly
talk.
after this candlestick routine, they find out that there's a secret passageway behind
Gonna kick her ass.
the bookcase, and they follow the music, and the music stops. I believe because he finds the book of his grandfather's,
It was you.
and it's after the reading of the grandfather's book that he says, "Oh, it could work, right, Tammy?"
Oh yeah, and did you see the name of the book? How I Did It.
Yeah, like assuming everyone knows what exactly
But
he
that's
did.
what Frankenstein did.
So yeah, they come across that, and then all of a sudden, he gets after reading it, he gets totally engrossed in reading it, and gets a bright idea of he's gonna try it himself. So we next see him at a cemetery, waiting for somebody to be buried so that they can steal the corpse. And after they've stolen the corpse and they're trying to get back to the castle, the wagon kind of gets away from them a little bit, and they end up encountering an officer, and that proves to be a little bit fun. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah. When he has dug out the corpse and runs into the officer, who somehow isn't realizing what exactly he is transporting.
Yeah. Yes, the officer ends up shaking the
Well, the
cold dead hand
townsfolk actually
corpse.
get together.
No, this is David where when they got the corpse.
Okay, yeah. I also the officer that shows up before the officer shows up, the townsfolk actually get together, and they're basically scared about what the new Frankenstein is going to be doing, because all Frankensteins are alike in their mind, which in reality, yes, they kind of are,
uh,
in a
Insane.
sense.
Wait, in reality, there are Frankensteins.
Maybe.
Well, uh, our main character is a Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
He's trying not to be like his grandfather, or
At
should I say,
least,
great great.
Work out too well.
at least at that point in the movie.
I am a Frankenstein.
Anyways, so Tammy, bring us back to where we are.
So they have the incident with the officer, and they continue. And based on a drawing that Igor made about how big uh, the creature is going to be and everything, you know, they're setting everything up. So he also tells Igor that he has to go get a brain.
Oh, that
And he
was a.
gives him the name of a brain to go get. And the brain he's supposed to get, I don't remember the exact name, but he's supposed to be, a scientist or something. He's smart and everything.
Oh,
And Igor goes to get the brain and gets the wrong one.
Oh no, he got the right one, but then some lightning hit and he saw himself in the mirror and he screamed and dropped it. So then
and
he had
and
to
what was
place
that?
and he had to get Abby normals.
Uh, he, he, wait, when he dropped the brain, you didn't say what I expected you to say.
Wow!
Spudao! Yeah, that was an epic Spudao moment. I, I pissed myself laughing when I saw what happened to the first brain.
Wow!
Well,
Spudao!
he also kept scaring himself.
So I said he looked in the mirror and scared himself.
It's funny how, AB normal becomes Abby normal as a name instead of abnormal. It becomes ab.
It's Abby what? Abby normal. You mean to tell me I put an abnormal brain in this giant? I love how he's choking him and then they do the Shrek thing. Oh.
So now I think we're about to the point where the experiment is going to take place. So, what do you guys think about this whole scene about um all the things, all the contraptions, and the contraption that goes up
Damn
is
your eyes! Too late.
Oh,
and
it was a.
that was something new in the scene also that Mel Brooks had brought up that
It's probably an ad lib from
th- that
thing they added it to the
Gene
movie.
Wilder's character actually went up on the thing with the creature, which in the other Frankenstein movie is only the creature goes up in the air,
Right,
not the scientist. This was a little added thing that they decided to do to make it a little bit different that he actually goes with, you
right.
know. But what did you think of the whole scene with everything going off and everything? What I tell you, hit pull the first one. And then he gets his glasses on and all that stuff, and he's like, go. And we start seeing all the things go off and the lightning's going and everything.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got my Wi-Fi got shut off my phone. That's why I got kicked. That's weird.
Oh,
Mm,
I thought that it was comical from the start to finish. I mean, you've got him going to get an actual actual like smart brain, and and just like in all the other Frankensteins, he always gets the abnormal brain. Except that this time it was a little bit funny because
Abby
You know,
Noel.
Uh, yeah. Okay. Never mind. Maybe I
That is
should
the
ask this
second most.
question later.
That is the second most memorable line in the movie. Abby Noel.
What were you gonna say, Boris?
I was going to ask something about this Frau Blücher character, but I think maybe I should ask it later when we actually get to that part where what I want to ask about is mentioned.
Okay, you can ask whatever you want, though.
Well, okay, then I can also ask now. Near the end, it was said that she was the old Frankenstein, which is supposedly the main character's grandfather, that
Great
he was. Sorry, what?
great grandfather.
Uh, Actually, I think they mentioned both grandfather and great grandfather, that it was two different characters. I think they even mentioned two different names for them.
But anyways, what was your question
Uh,
about her?
She said that the old Frankenstein was her boyfriend. How is that possible? In that case, she should be old enough to be the main character's grandmother, and she wasn't that old.
She looked old enough to me.
Well, not
Well,
that
you know, older
old.
guys like young women.
Okay, yeah. Mm,
So I guess that would explain it. You know, she was definitely infatuated with him, whether or not they were a couple. She was obviously infatuated with him. So
yeah.
he was my boyfriend. Woof. Well, that was whatever Inga would say whenever she would say something sexy. Woof.
Mm.
Anyways, moving on.
I think in
Tammy.
a episode of Everybody Loves Raymond, he dressed up like Frankenstein for Halloween one year. Kind of a throwback to his movie, Peter Boyle.
Oh, you think he actually dressed up as him?
He dressed up as Frankenstein in Everybody Loves Raymond. Obviously, a throwback to when he played young Frankenstein in his movie.
Well, and what's funny is that Tammy didn't think that he looked that tall to be this Frankenstein.
Well, yeah,
And I was like, really?
boots on too.
I guess you're so used to him sitting down that you haven't seen him stand up
That
because he
yeah,
would sit
sure.
down and unzip his fly all the time, you know?
Yeah, he was always sitting down on the fly. Yeah, that was Frank.
yeah, to me, he doesn't look tall enough to be a Frankenstein.
Well, he also wore stuff that made him taller as well. Which was I thought when he was doing the dance scene was pretty damn good that he was still able to dance even in those boots, you know, because those were probably pretty heavy back then. They looked heavy.
Yep. Okay. So Frankenstein thinks his experiment did not work, and he's all disappointed. And they go to have something to eat, and they're sitting at the table, and he says something about, "Isn't this?" And all of a sudden, they start hearing noises, and they thought they think that each other is going,
Well, it's
that
not me.
whatever
Not,
this is good. And then they realize that nobody is going, race downstairs to find out that the creature is now alive.
You haven't even touched your food. There, I touched my food.
Oh.
Yes, Frankenstein is now alive, and
It's alive! It's alive!
he's happy,
That's what that's.
and so he undoes him his bonds, and I believe it's Igor who lights a cigar and
Yeah,
scares the shit out of him.
and he starts choking Dr.
Yeah, but it's funny. First, he tells him when he first tells him to sit up, he sits up. He tells him, "Put your feet, stand on your feet," and he just the look on his face, and he goes, at him is funny. Like, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
And then he gets him to stand up, and he starts walking him around, and then yes, Igor goes and lights that cigar and sends him into a frenzy. And Frankenstein is trying to get them to give him the shot, and they're not getting it.
It rhymes with bed. Dead. Sedative. First word, second syllable. That was great.
And right about this time, uh, the constable, is that what he is?
Yeah, the constable comes back in. Which I guess he's based on Lionel Atwell's character of that constable in the Frankenstein movies.
Correct. So they're trying to put on a good show for him. And how do you like their dart game? Frankenstein can't hit
He's a
nothing.
cheater.
I mean, it goes through the window, goes through this, it goes that.
That was the second
And
time. The
later
first
on, we
time,
see that his darts penetrated the wheels.
the first time he got all the shots on the board
We later
and
find
close to bullseye. But the second time, the constable was cheating again by making a loud noise every time he went to throw.
And we later see that Frankenstein's darts that missed the board completely ended up deflating the constable's tires.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And he also right before that, he also got a cat. Because you hear a cat going, yeah! And he throws it.
Oh yeah, poor cat.
Poor kitty.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that movie. What was that movie that we watched with the guy who threw the cat out the window?
Wait. It kind of rings a bell.
Dave, Tammy?
Which movie?
What?
Where the guy just throws the cat out the window?
Oh,
Uh,
is that the Gene Wilder movie with
No.
um,
No.
Haunted Honeymoon?
No.
No.
Actually, I think we were discussing some movie where someone I guess tried to save a cat from a tree, but ended up killing it somehow. If I remember correctly, if
No.
I didn't.
No, he's talking about the one. I know which one he's talking about. I can picture it. I just can't picture the name of it. He
Right.
throws him out the window.
Right.
The cat out the window.
He's just talking to this person and he just picks up the cat and just tosses it out the window. It's like it was just like in the movie they didn't like make any big deal out of it, but we're all like, what the fuck is like threw the cat out the window. Can't think of the name of the
There's
movie.
something about Mary.
No, it wasn't a comedy.
Okay.
Ah, I can't think of the name of it.
I know it's driving me nuts. It just kind of made me think of that movie. I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, it had what's his name in it?
Mm,
I'm drawing blanks.
Oh, what was that? It was
Hey, I don't want to hear about your personal life.
Ah,
Ah,
anyways.
yeah, they were like in like a castle or in a castle room or whatever, and he picked the cat up and threw it out the window.
yeah.
I can't think of it. Anyways, I don't think we're going to think about it. Think of it. So, moving on.
I will in the middle of the night. I'll wake up going, that's it.
Okay, so where are we now? Tammy, you're hosting.
The constable is leaving. The constable is leaving.
Okay, he's leaving the house, right?
Right.
Or is he leaving to go meet meet them? Okay, so shortly after that, I do believe uh, they. Oh yes, yes. So Frankenstein, the monster, is in the basement, and Frau Blucher decides that she's going to actually uh, help him escape, and she does, and he does, and while he has his escape, there is a guy that's in a a hovel or cottage, like somewhere nearby, and he's praying to God for a visitor. And so it's then that he immediately shows up, the monster, and he comes in, and then there's the whole comedic thing of him telling him to grab a bowl, he'll give him some soup. He spills the soup in his lap. Then he tries to give him a drink, which he fills his cup entirely with the wine, but he decides to have a toast, and he crashes his mug into his, and his mug breaks. So not only does he not eat nor drink, and then he says he's got cigars for the occasion. So he hands him a cigar, and he lights a candle, and he's all afraid of it. And he's like, "Here, give me your cigar." And he lights his thumb instead, and that's when he spoodow.
Spoodow.
he runs
Right
from
before
there.
that, though, right before that, though, their funny scene with the little girl. The parents are gonna go upstairs and check on the little girl who's outside, and he
So
gets
they
on the
walked
teeter
around.
totter with her and sends her flying into her bed.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was funny. when he escaped and started to interact with that girl, and she I think she was throwing some stuff down the well, right? And when she ran out of it,
Something
she
like
said, "Yeah," she said, "What are we going to throw now?" I kind of thought he would throw her, but he didn't go down that route. Uh, Uh, So yeah, at that point, I still thought the movie would become some more horror or morbid comedy or something like that, but it ended up not having any such things.
Tammy.
Yes, let's see.
Sorry if I interrupted.
No, you're fine. I'm just trying to remember what that comes next. Oh yeah, he's depressed because he feels like he's a failure. The monster's on the loose, so him and Ingrid decide to have a little bit of fun. And then he gets the telegram that his wife is going to, his fiance is going to be there any moment.
You might want to put on a tie.
Well, he also yells at Frau Blucher. Uh, haven't I told you not to interrupt us when we're busy working?
Well, I thought you might want to know she's coming. Since your assistant already came. Oh,
You might want to put on a tie with that.
yeah, you said you might want to put on a tie. I want to put on more clothes than that, but yeah.
And then, of course, when she does show up, uh, Igor is uh, making passes at her.
Yeah. Get the baggage. Okay, I'll grab this one.
Here, you take the blood, and I'll take this one.
And then, well, he did end up taking the blonde. Poor Igor did not get that one though. Peachy did.
So then the fiance shows up and he's introducing and everything, and Igor takes a liking to her and what's, and then ends up biting her skull because it's got a animal.
Stop. Take the packages.
Hmm.
Anyways, where are we now?
Anywho,
The fiance just showed up.
Your friend Regina Sullivan is saying hi to you, Boris.
oh hi. I didn't see you were you actually joined this chat. Nice to see you here.
But yeah, so she definitely does show up, and of course, Frankenstein acts very lovey-dovey towards her, and she's not having any of it again. She's like, "Oh, Why can't we just save myself till marriage?
Yeah, okay. We found out that was a lie.
All right.
When at this time, about this time, the creature kidnaps her.
Well, yeah, that does happen. Because he ends up leaving the room, and she gets kidnapped. Of course, as the film progresses, they end up having some hunky dory hump day.
Yeah, he had one thing on his mind, and at first she tried to object, but then she liked it.
Yep.
She started singing.
Yep, and then she's like, well, 6 times is usually my limit, but oh, what the heck? Let's go for 7.
Meanwhile, the
Slut.
huh?
I said,
Meanwhile, while the townsfolk are all up in an uproar about going and trying to get the monster.
Right, and then the monster ends up going away because he hears the music. So they get him to come back to the hotel. I mean, to the castle.
he climbs up the wall. No, let him do it himself.
And I love how while they're playing the music, Igor is sitting up there waiting to play his part in the violin, or what was it? Not the violin, the French horn that he was playing. If you notice, he's waiting intently to play his smallest of notes.
Mhm.
And ultimately, he does climb up that terrace. And what happens next, Tammy?
Experiment that's gonna hopefully make him smarter.
We can't hear you for some reason. Can any of you hear us?
I heard.
Uh,
Yeah.
I can hear you all. Mhm.
See, I can't hear anything.
Uh,
Here.
now I'm not hearing it. Well, okay, I'm hearing you too, but Tammy is apparently quiet now.
Well, I was because I couldn't hear anybody else. I didn't know who was what.
Interesting.
Okay, where are we now? Where are we now?
That they're gonna go do the
Right after the
experiment,
trellis.
isn't it?
The experiment.
Well,
Uh,
after the dance.
yeah, that's right. They end up doing the putting on the Ritz thing. They end up going to an auditorium to show this audience what the Frankenstein monster can do.
This is
And
Sure.
we also got a moment where the Frankenstein monster was in fact jailed. In between this
That
too.
was
Oh,
afterwards. That
indeed.
was afterwards because he
Oh,
freaked out
you
because of
think that was afterwards?
that
Okay.
was afterwards. That's why he was arrested because he
Okay.
freaked out and started attacking people because they were throwing food at him.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
that's right.
being
We
rude.
missed the
To
whole
be
putting on the
honest.
Ritz.
I just said
Yeah.
How did you guys like
that.
the putting on the Ritz?
It was great.
Putting on the Ritz.
Uh,
Well, at first he has him do a couple of muscle exercises where he has him toe to heel to toe type thing, and then he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, you have to close your eyes and think of what kind of pure genius uh, 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 um, uh, is puts together this," and then the lights dim, and then they both start doing the putting on the Ritz, and I think it's like one of the funniest things ever because you don't expect him to even sound like he's saying putting on the Ritz, but he does it to an extent where you can actually fucking understand the monster. So
You can understand him, but he still sounds like he's still saying it as a monster.
This happens to be one of my favorite parts of the movie, and they weren't going to do it. Mel Brooks thought that was going to be over the top, and Gene
Wait,
Wilder
what?
convinced him to actually film it anyways, and decide later if they were going to put it in. And when a critic or whatever came to look at it, I guess could not stop laughing and said you have to include it. So
Hey, good for something. Who knew?
but yeah, we ultimately then after that, um, he gets scared because of I believe it's because somebody brought fire onto the
No,
stage
with the light. The light kind of blew up.
or didn't explode of some sort.
There was
Scared.
sparks. There was sparks in the light.
Yeah.
Light fire, and it scared him. And
Yep.
that scares them, and then they start throwing shit at him, which freaks them out even more.
he's like, "Stop throwing things at him! Stop humiliating him!" Yeah.
So in actuality, the whole reason why he got scared was because the audience was stupid.
Oh no,
uh,
they got scared in the first place, but then the audience got stupid. All stupid people are stupid, so
oh yeah.
Hey, was that movie we were trying to think about the Grand Budapest Hotel?
Is it? Sounds like it might have been it.
It had Jeff Goldblum in it, and she's the one that threw the cat out the window.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
I figured it out. Ah!
good job. I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night going, "That's it."
I knew Jeff was in it, so that's how I found it.
Couldn't even remember that. I just yeah.
I remembered he was in it because he's the one that threw the damn cat out the window.
Definitely not a Jeff Goldblum type role.
So, anyways, yes. So yeah, he's in jail. The cop is stupid and goes to light a cigarette or whatever, and realizes that he doesn't like the fire and starts picking on him and teasing him until he
So
finally loses his cool, and that's it.
Well, yeah, and by this time the townspeople are like panicking, so they end up storming the castle.
Storm the
and
castle.
I believe, and they hadn't actually stormed the castle in the original Frankenstein, to be honest, and they didn't actually storm the castle until Ghost of or House of, to be honest. So this was almost like
But they stormed the castle in Princess Bride.
yeah, that was
They stormed it in the Bride of Frankenstein and Son. And I believe it was Son they stormed the castle. No, they said it was the Son and the Ghost is when they stormed the castle.
yeah,
No,
So
that's the father.
yeah. The original Frankenstein, they didn't storm the castle at all.
Have fun storming the castle, kids.
no, because they were too busy out there looking for them.
Yep, they were too busy out there looking for him. But in this one, they actually stormed the castle, and once they finally got to the laboratory, I believe that that's when they actually did a brain transfer, a brain transference, and somehow that transference gave the monster some bit of intelligence,
Intellect. Yes.
intellect, which
Yes, it
allowed
was
him
supposed to
to.
give him intellect and curb his monster's tendencies, his anger. That was the reasoning behind it.
Correct.
Why are we seeing Kroll's bathroom upside down?
Because he decided to go to the bathroom.
And he took us with him.
Yep.
Apparently.
But we do have this part where he's going and speaking to the crowd, and they actually shake his hand, and the comrade the comrade actually goes over to the crowd of people, and it basically says, "Okay, we've got like I've got stuff back at my place. We can drink." And it's like they fucking just drop everything and leave. You know, it's like, okay, danger's over. Let's go. And then we get a moment where Gene Wilder's character Frankenstein comes back into a room, and evidently they had a night out or something like that. And, I believe
Well,
Frankenstein, the monster,
they got married.
they had actually gotten married, and she. I guess there was a scene of them in the bedroom, and he goes at the end, but I do believe that this last scene is with Gene Wilder's character, where she Inga actually is like, so what? I don't exactly understand what part of his brain did you get?
No, what part? What did you get in the transference? She said, and then he's like, and then he
and she
showed her,
starts singing.
he showed her, and you can put two and two together, and she started singing, kind of like Madeline Kahn had.
And the same song, I think.
Yeah, the same song that his affianced had when the monster was.
Well, she does her little woof too.
Yeah, she does do her little woof. But yeah, that pretty much is the end of the movie then. So, Tammy, bring us into the production. Tammy,
Yes, that is pretty
bring
much the
us into
movie.
production.
Anybody else have anything they want to add, say?
Uh, Cool. I I
Think about
don't
production.
think so. Yeah.
Don't all talk at once now.
Who goes first?
Alrighty, Boris, why don't you tell us what you think of the production?
Well, like I said, okay, they wanted to
Go ahead,
try to
Boris.
uh, make the movie older than it really was, and I think they did a good job at that. If I hadn't known it was a 1974 movie, I probably would have assumed it was from the 50s or something like that. So they did do a good job at it, although, like I said, I would have personally preferred if they had told the same story through more through the contemporary filmmaking of that time. But like I said, that's just me. The others probably don't have to feel the same. But yeah, for what it was supposed to be, I think it did a pretty good job, and some of the effects they did, I guess, probably weren't easy to put together even in the 70s when they didn't have the CGI and stuff like with the lightning and all that. So uh, I would say it was good.
Okay. What about you, Kroll? What did you think about the production overall?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, yeah, they definitely went and tried to make it seem like it was a lot older movie. I thought it was an older movie too. I never really thought about it, but then when I saw 74, I'm like, really? And because it's black and white, and they definitely do a great job of making it feel like an older movie, but they definitely have the effects of the 70s in there, and it's 74, so they don't probably don't have quite have the obviously they don't have the effects that George Lucas had a few years later, but you know, um, but yeah, I think they did an awesome job, and they made the movie seem older than it was, and they definitely did a great job that way.
Okay. What about you, Tammy?
Okay, what about you, Dave?
Oh, well,
What about you,
I
Dave?
guess. Okay. Well, I thought the production was pretty good. I don't think that if they would have put this in color, it would have had the impression that it still does to this day. Although I do think that maybe just like maybe it would be interesting to see it in color, just to see how it does. I mean, granted, there are some movies that I think look like shit when they turn things to color. Like It's a Wonderful Life should never have been in color. But
Well,
I
And this is where Dave is wrong.
i-
no, it's not where I'm wrong.
if you if you just colorize the movie, it's still the same movie. I mean, I would have preferred
No,
if
it's
they
not.
had uh, no,
It's not the
no,
same movie because it doesn't have the same atmosphere.
uh, No, no, but I mean, when they colorize a movie that was originally black and white, that's some editing of
That's
what
like
it
making
was,
it an entirely different movie.
uh,
It
uh,
really is.
I was going to say that's when they do that, that's an editing of what was previously an already finished product. But the point I was trying to make is I wish they made this movie as a whole the way the movies were being made in the 70s instead of trying to mimic the 50s or whatever time they were trying to mimic.
I think in the 70s, people were still trying to be nostalgic about like the 50s, just like nowadays. There's a lot of people who enjoyed the 80s, and
Oh.
that's why when it comes to films, kind of like uh, somewhat feel like an 80s movie, and yet it's made now. That's why people are nostalgic. There were people who were nostalgic about the old black and white films, and I think that brought
It's a Wonderful
something to
Life
this
does
film.
not change at all in color. But now the Wizard of Oz, when they made the Kansas part color, that was stupid. That was absolutely
Uh,
stupid. They could have made the whole thing color. They didn't for a reason.
yeah, there is a reason why one part of the movie is black and white and another part in color. So yeah, that's something where I think they shouldn't have uh, edited it.
I understood the Wizard of Oz because the beginning part with it in black and white, and then it changing the color
Yeah, they were showing the
because you're
drabness of
going to
Kansas.
Oz, you're going to this
Exactly.
place,
It was stupid of Turner to do that.
and
Yeah,
it turns the color because you're now in Oz. That's why it turns the color. You're now in Oz.
Yep. Obviously, they had the
But
capability
anyway,
of making the whole movie color, but they didn't for a reason.
I think
Because
anyways, I think the
y'all
production
think
was good
it needs
because
color to be a good movie. It doesn't.
well, not necessarily, but
Exactly, not necessarily.
uh,
The original Frankenstein needs to be black and white.
uh, I personally, uh, I usually enjoy movies better if they are in color.
Same
If
here.
it's I sorry, what?
I said same here.
Yeah, if they are black and white, if it's a really good story, I may still enjoy it, but I personally prefer color because
see, to me
well,
it depends
for
on the movie. I mean, the original Frankenstein. I would not want to see the original Frankenstein in color.
I just
The
said that.
original Frankenstein belongs being in black and white like it is.
All the original Universal movies should be black and white like they
To
were.
me, it depends on the movie.
I would not
uh,
want to see with the Wizard of Oz in total color. That would be just fucked up.
It was fucked up. It was fucked up.
It's fucked up that anyone could even think that the Wizard of Oz could be in color
Yep.
in that
That
beginning part
was
of the
Ted Turner,
film.
idiot.
Anyways, I think the production of this was good. I mean, especially if you watch some of the behind the scenes stuff like we did, and knowing that, you know, how much Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder really wanted this to be in black and white, and why they wanted it in black and white is they wanted to stay true as they could to the actual movie, is why they wanted it in black and white. And um like a lot of the movies of that time and stuff, there wasn't no CGI or any of that crap then, so everything was done done with their own ideas, their own mind, their own creativity to make everything happen, and so I think they did a really good job. And I think they brought they did do very good at paying tribute to the original Frankenstein and adding their own flair to it by adding the comedy in it. And so I think it was a good combination of the original and the comedy together. And you had the right actors in it and everything. I think it all came together good. I can understand why Mel Brooks said that this is like his favorite movie that he's ever done, and I can see why. I in seeing some of the behind the scenes stuff, all the actors seem to have enjoyed each other and enjoyed making the movie, which I think that makes the movie even better too.
When
So
your actors and actresses actually enjoy being around each other and there's chemistry. Yeah, I agree. When everything comes to play like that, and everyone can play off of each other really, really well, you can create a really good movie. I think that's what happened with the production of this.
And a lot of those people were all known for ad libbing and stuff. So you know, you never know what's gonna be said by anyone, even if you know the script inside and out.
And there was a part where uh, Marty Feldman was like playing with her fur coat, and he actually took a chunk off of it, and you could see him chewing on it. And Khan was just laughing her ass off. I mean, I wish there would have been more bloopers from
I
this
wouldn't mind seeing a
movie.
behind the scenes for
Oh,
this movie.
were they even doing bloopers at that time?
Yeah,
Huh.
just might not have called it bloopers, but yeah.
yeah, the Blu-ray that we have did not show much in the bloopers. It would have been nice to have seen more because I bet you there was quite a few
I love
with
bloopers. I
that
love the
cast.
Xena bloopers.
But yeah. Anybody else have anything to say about production?
I don't think so. I said what I had to say about it.
How about David? You love to do this part. How about the music?
Huh?
You love to do this part. How about the music?
Okay. Well. Actually, there were several things music-wise in here, like of course, the putting on the Ritz, and in fact, the music that was being played on the violin. Um, that was actually cool. Um, about to figure out who indeed actually did the actual music per se, because there wasn't really a huge soundtrack to this.
No,
But
but the songs they had were great. They fit the movie perfectly.
I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if this is true or not, but in the behind the scenes, supposedly the violin thing was a Transylvanian lullaby.
Ooh.
That's what they had said
okay,
in a
so the
behind the
music was
scenes thing.
the music was done by John Morris, who also did the music behind Blazing Saddles
Oh,
and
nice.
the Elephant Man, and I think he did it was the conductor behind Haunted Honeymoon, High Anxiety, Silent Movie, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Let's see, seeing if he was the 12 Chairs. So he was a conductor behind a fair amount of Mel Brooks productions. Um, because Haunted Honeymoon Moon was not a Mel Brooks production, I don't think, but it was a comedy involving Gene Wilder. Um, but Silent Movie and High Anxiety and Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles and
I
12
love Silent
Years,
Movie.
those were all Mel Brooks productions that he was behind. And The Producers, which was another
That was a
Mel
great
Brooks.
movie.
That was one of his first ones. Yeah, in fact, if I remember correctly, Tom Hanks was in the remake of The Producers.
They remade that?
Yeah, that was the only one the only one of Mel Brooks productions that was remade.
Yeah, I don't think they should have.
Which
Some
one?
some people like it, some people don't.
Which one?
I guess The Producers.
Oh,
Yeah, that one was redone by someone, which I'm not entirely sure it should have either. But regardless, it happened. Hollywood makes mistakes, as we know, which is why the writers and the actors are on strike right now.
Are they?
Yeah, they've been on strike for the last 3 months.
How come?
Basically because of the AI crap that Hollywood's started to involve themselves in. They believe, the Hollywood executives believe that AI can actually create scripts for them. So it's putting the script writers out of work, and once the screenwriters went on strike, so did the actors.
Got it. I didn't realize it was AI. I knew people had lost their jobs because of AI, but I didn't know about that.
Yeah, the unions actually for the AG what is it, the main Hollywood actors and the main Hollywood screenwriters are on strike. So, and they haven't been on strike since the late 70s to early 80s, and that strike went for
No, there was definitely one sooner than
over
that.
5 months during the Reagan regime.
There was definitely one sooner than that. There was definitely one in the early
They've
80s.
been talking about the original strike that happened like and it did happen in the 80s.
There was one in the
So,
late 80s too.
This was the only strike that I know of that happened, and that one happened for about 5 months or so.
your favorite.
And this one's going on 3.5 months. What are you saying, Tammy?
March 7th to August 7th, 1988. Do you hear me,
Okay,
Dave?
so it happened in the late 80s.
Yes, I remember. That's why I said it was definitely one sooner because I freaking remember it. I mean, I couldn't remember the early.
All I
80s,
know
but knew
is
when
they
the
said
early-
it hasn't gone on as long as that one, but it's getting there. So, anyways, let's get into favorite.
Yeah, this one was 5
characters,
months.
favorite scenes.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was one in 81, and then 87, and then 88.
Yeah,
Boris,
it's been a
who was
while
your
since they've
favorite
been on
actor
strike.
and your favorite scene?
Yep, favorite
Uh,
actors, favorite scenes. Let's start with you, Boris.
favorite actor, probably the monster. Although I did also like Frankenstein and
Frankenstein.
Yeah, well, later he changed his name to
Yeah, at the end, I am a Frankenstein.
yeah, and actually he didn't when he accepted that name, he didn't even say Frankenstein, but Frankenstein, more the way Germans would say it, which
Yeah.
I found it quite interesting to notice. But my favorite scene, actually, there were quite several that I like, and I
Right.
kind of had a hard time choosing one. But one of those I especially loved was, as already said, when Igor dropped the brain of the smart guy they wanted to implant into the monster. That was hilarious, and. Also, when the monster escaped, there were some quite several funny scenes, and also the show on stage when he was showing the monster to everyone and the chaos that ended up happening there, and definitely the monster with the fiance when he had sex with her and she started to sing. That was hilarious. Um, what else? The ending was good, of course, too. And well, uh, there were actually quite several other scenes that I had some good laugh with, but I can't recall off the top of my head. But yeah, I've named quite a few.
Okay. What about you, Crow? Favorite character and or favorite scenes?
Both are very hard to say. Very, very hard to say. I mean, Peter Boyle was great as the monster. Gene Wilder is absolutely great. Gene Hackman for his quick spot in there as the blind man. He was great. Like everybody in the movie, Terry Garr. I probably have to go with Gene Wilder. But like I said, everybody was great. I mean, it was such a great cast. This movie, Gene Wilder is great, but this movie had just such a great cast that everybody contributed to how funny this movie was. It wasn't just Gene Wilder that was funny in this movie. Everybody was. Um, even some Cloris Leachman had some funny scenes, and of course Marty Feldman. Every scene he had to go was funny. Yeah, and as far as favorite scenes go, I'm like Boris here. It's hard to say. I have to say, Werewolf, Their Wolf was one of my favorite scenes. Uh, the putting on the Ritz, the uh, him being Frankenstein being choked out by the creature, and him
Oh,
playing charades as he's telling him to sedate him, and then later when he finds out that the brain is from Abby Normal, and he starts choking out,
oh
choking out
yeah, oh that.
Igor, and once again, she starts playing charades, which is what he's saying. um, and definitely the sex scene with the ex fiance and the creature, and then the end scene with them lying in bed. And she's like, I don't get you. You transferred some of your brain, but what did you get? And he's like, and then you find out what he got. She got to get what he got. Yeah, those were
So you like
definitely
a lot of the movie.
yeah the whole movie. I mean, I'm sure the scenes that I'm leaving out that I thought was great too. But like I said, I can sit there and probably just name every single scene in the movie. That was one of the best scenes because it was just one of those movies that was funny from the beginning to end and was really a really great movie. But I do have to mention when I think of Young Frankenstein, um, I immediately always think it's alive, it's alive. Now I thought about that so much that I transferred it to Frankenstein. Like I kept thinking it happened in Frankenstein, and of course he never said it like that in Frankenstein. But I kept thinking he did because I watched Frankenstein, young Frankenstein, so much as a kid. I got the two confused. Um, but yeah, that is definitely the biggest line in the entire movie for me is him, you know, declaring that he's alive, and the way he says it too. I'm done.
Okay, and it's hard for me to pick who is my favorite character in here because they're all great. Um,
Right?
uh, I like Marty Feldman for Igor.
Oh
Uh, I,
yeah,
I, I mean, what hump? You
uh,
know,
Uh-huh.
I
Wasn't a
mean,
hump on the other side?
oh yeah, he definitely also deserves to be mentioned. I'm sorry for forgetting to mention him when it was my turn. He is probably my close second favorite character. I found him hilarious too, and
your absent-minded hunchback,
Dear
which
Wolf, Dear Castle,
he doesn't even realize he's a hunchback.
uh,
follow this
uh,
way.
yeah, like when I saw him, I found myself thinking he looks like a child of Mr. Bean and the evil queen from Snow White in her own child form.
They had a kid.
Well, doesn't he kind of look like that? I, I don't even know if they did it intentionally. Well, they probably did, but it
He's older than
definitely.
them.
Sorry, what did you say?
He's much older.
Uh, yeah, yeah, true.
But
W-
yeah, he
w-
is much older than you think he is.
no, I know they wouldn't have had those specific movies on mind that I mentioned, but I mean, I don't know if they intended to make him look exactly the way he did, or if a part of it was just the way the actor looks, but it definitely worked very well for his character.
Oh yeah.
I always thought it was ego.
Um,
You're obviously wrong.
but I have so many favorite moments in here. I mean, here wolf, there wolf. Uh,
Yep.
roll in
Everywhere
the
Wolf,
hay,
Wolf,
roll
Old
in the hay.
MacDonald.
Frau Buka, Buka.
Beowulf, dear Castle. Why are you talking like that? Oh, I thought you wanted me
Your fiance is coming. You should wear a tie with that.
to. You should put a tie on, she says. Of course, he's naked, but yeah.
Woof. I mean, there are so many moments. Swanstukel.
No, normally, I don't appreciate someone who's engaged, you know, cheating on his fiance, but they didn't belong together. That was quite obvious. She was marrying him for his brilliance and money, and I don't know what he saw in her, but
Yeah, she was just a brilliant character too. I mean, she acted all stuck up and
oh, she was
whatnot.
perfect. She was great in the role. She got what was coming to her. Yeah.
But
She
Tammy,
got she got the double creature feature.
Tammy, favorite characters and our favorite scene.
My favorite character is the monster.
Give oil.
I think. I think he's the actor did an excellent job, and it just, his facial expressions and how he did them, and his little it just, I really like him. He's just, but um, my very favorite scene is the putting on the Ritz thing. Um, I like a lot of the other ones that everybody mentioned. You know, um, it is hard to mention just one, but my favorite is the putting on the Ritz. Basically, the whole movie to me is a favorite scene because it was something
right?
special with my father. So,
I mean, like I said, they don't, you don't talk about Peter Boyle's dancing skills, but he was in those heavy boots, man, and he was dancing pretty decent for being in those heavy boots. I mean, obviously Gene Wilder did most of the dancing, but
Yeah.
yep. But like I said, basically the whole movie because it was something special with my dad and me is my favorite scene.
my mom loved the movie too.
Okay. Does that pretty much do it? Is everyone finished with their thoughts?
I think so.
Yep.
At least I am.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming along and listening to our discussion. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. It is a classic in any sense of the word. I don't care if you think that you should see a movie in color or not. This is a comical movie. So let us know down in the comments what you thought uh, of either or. And we'll send you off with all of us singing Putting on the Reds!
And
He's alive.
and Mark Moose Strand, you will be sorely missed.
Indeed. Putting on the Ritz.